Wee woo, wee woo, wee woo, wee woo. Alert, alert, alert. We are 4 days away from Lent. I repeat, we are 4 days away from Lent. Lent is the most important time of the year because it's the time in which we reset. The time when we look at ourselves and ask, am I truly ready for Easter? It's the annual intervention of life. We stop drifting and decide to strive, to be who we ought to be at all times. As we recognize the choice heard about in our first reading. Do you choose life or death? Now, a lot of us, we've been in the habit of choosing death, choosing actions that don't bring joy in life, but instead bring numbness and death, acting out on lust, binging alcohol, doom scrolling, jealousy, anger. All these things are us choosing death. And every time you choose death, you become more full of death. That can be our lives sometimes, just full of death. But every time you choose life, you become more full of life. Every time you forgive, every time you pray to God, every time you pour your heart out for your loved ones, you become more full of life. And that's the choice. Choose life or death. And every time you choose something worse, you become worse. But every time you choose something better, you become better. And the question, what are we choosing to become? Someone that's full of death or someone that's full of life? Because the goal is that every moment you pick what is better. Till the end of your life, you become like Christ. As the gospel says, your righteousness surpasses that of the scribes and Pharisees. Shane Smith, atheist comedian who describes himself as the ultimate trailer park white trash man, he gave a talk at Seek this past year. And he talked about how he had this dramatic mystical encounter with Mary that led him to Christ, and he was forced to change his life. And when he came out to his secular friends that he was making the choice to become Christian, to follow Christ, they said, okay, but you'll be really bad at this whole Catholic thing. Because Shane had terrible alcohol problems, had terrible drug problems, had terrible sex problems, had terrible anger problems, and he said, yeah, I know. I was reading the Bible last week, and I found this thing that said that even thinking is a sin. Then he quoted what our Lord said today about lust, and then he used some less than sacred words I will not repeat here. But then he said, if you aren't a hypocrite, it means your moral standards are too low. If you aren't a hypocrite, it means your moral standards are too low. That if you don't want to be a hypocrite, it's easy. Just set your moral standards just above Hitler. You can always say, at least I'm not Hitler. That way, you don't have to be challenged. You don't have to feel awkward. You don't have to change. But where does Christ put the bar? As high as possible. Not just don't murder, don't even be angry. Not just don't commit adultery, don't even look with lust. Not just don't break your vows, don't even make vows, just say yes or no. If someone has something against you, you must leave the altar and make peace. It is so much easier to not be Hitler. You can always say, I'm doing great. It's still early, but I've not committed any genocide today. Doing great. But that's not where Christ wants us to be. He invites us up to his level. And this high standard that he calls us to, it can be crushing. It can lead us to despair. It can lead us to want to choose death. Because at least then, my heart's numb. I don't feel bad. I don't feel anything. But when one knows how much one is loved, unconditionally, Christ's words can bring peace. And we have the option to choose life. That's what happened to Shane Smith, our trailer park white trash comedian. You should look up a picture of him online to see his face tattoos. But he had found success in comedy, but he still felt despair. Thus, he decided to give in to his vices. He had a lot of money, he could afford a lot of vices, but he still felt broken. In fact, even more broken than before. He decided to move back home with his family when his Catholic grandfather died. His grandfather was the only one who ever truly loved him. And for a month after he had died, Shane was having dreams about going to church, a thing he had never done. He decided, okay, I don't like these dreams. I'll just go to church and get past these dreams. He said, okay, well, I will go on a Tuesday at noon. They'll be closed. I'll be good to go. But he went to a Catholic church, and he walked up the door, pushed it open. It was open. He had not planned this far. So he awkwardly walked in and kneeled in the back of the church. And he saw the cross. And he had this vision of Mary. He was not Catholic, so he had no idea what was happening. But for the first time in his life, he felt love. For the first time in his life, he didn't have to choose death. He was free to choose life. But note that in this moment, the temptation does not vanish. The struggle does not disappear. But you realize, I have a better choice. I don't have to pick death. I can pick life. But picking life is not a decision that you make. You feel good about it, but you don't actually do it. It's a decision that you choose and it affects every moment moving forward. Something that's become a rule of life that daily forms my heart and keeps me on the path of daily choosing God. It has to be something that finds you, that reminds you, that binds you, and that costs you. That's to find you. It's something that's built into your daily rhythm. That's to remind you that I belong to Christ. That's to bind you, keep you close physically and spiritually. Ultimately, it has to cost you. The highest sign of love is not feeling good, but being willing to suffer for your beloved. Because love that costs nothing changes nothing. Love that costs nothing changes nothing. As we prepare for Lent, reflect upon our willingness to choose life and follow Christ. Let us ask, okay, what will find me, remind me, bind me, and cost me to more fully live the life of Christ, to choose life, not death? First, we got a few tips about how to choose life. Tip 1, what will you be doing during this Lent? Hope that we're all ready for a generational mog on Wednesday. As we give up meat and have 2 small meals, our Muslim friends are going to fast and eat no food or water from sunrise to sunset, and we'll look pretty weak sauce, not going to lie. We have the option, though, to make this Lent different. Make it something that truly challenges us and leads us to deeper change. So what will you do? The official penance for St. Francis, 2026, is get 8 hours of sleep every single night. 8 hours of sleep. You may say, wait, is that a penance? It is when you want to choose death and mindlessly scroll Instagram. It is when your friends want to go out, lose their sense of self, and get drunk. But you have to choose life and get sleep. Getting sleep is a good decision that cascades to more good decisions. So if you wish to join the well-rested retinue, get 8 hours of sleep every night. The way you reset your sleep schedule is by getting up super early 2 days in a row. Luckily on Tuesday, we'll have our Service Omnium breakfast at 6:30 a.m. So come to that, be tired, and go to bed at a reasonable time. You know your heart better than I, so be honest and ask, okay, what will find me, remind me, bind me, and ultimately cost me? And tip 2, who will help me be where I want to be? Christianity is not a solo adventure. It's a team game. That you were made for a relationship, and without relationships, we can't be ourselves fully. So tip 2 is to find someone who will help you be who you want to be, someone who will give you accountability so that you aren't just saying you'll choose life and feel good and then never change, but you'll actually do that which brings life, and you'll actually become better. So tip 2, find an accountability partner. If you ask me, I'll say yes, but should an even number of people ask me, I'll pair you guys up. So there is a risk there. In class this past week, I showed my students the sad bird video. Go on YouTube right now and type in nugget in bird and see it for yourself. It's a sad bird video. But it's this little kiwi bird that's walking happily along the ground until it finds this golden nugget there. And it looks good. And the little kiwi, he drinks it. And the kiwi becomes super happy. It feels like it's flying. It's awesome. Then it crashes. And it gets a little bit hurt. So what does it do? Keeps on walking. He finds another nugget. And he drinks it. Feels like he's flying. And it crashes. It's a little bit harder. And every time he finds this nugget, he feels worse and worse. And he needs the nugget to feel better. But by the end of the video, the bird gets more broken and the world gets darker. And it ends incredibly sad. I thought it had a happy ending with the kiwi going through kiwi therapy. But no, it ends with a bird in pitch black darkness, utterly broken, looking at this golden nugget that brought him happiness, yes, but death. It truly is a sad bird video. You should watch it. But the top comment, it continues the story. That has the little kiwi, upon the nugget, reflected upon his past and wanting a better future, decided no more. And with great effort, walked past the nugget, and his life got a tad bit brighter. He came upon another golden nugget, and again chose to walk past it, and his life got a tad bit brighter. He did this time and time again, until our beloved kiwi was restored to full health, and was much wiser in his now bright world. Because our kiwi chose life instead of death. He began to live the life the Lord wants him to live. May we all be the happy bird that chooses life, and not the sad bird that chooses death. God bless.